Alright, y'all, so I'm back with another review of the Real Housewives of Dallas. I know I've been gone a little bit. I've just had a lot in my life going on right now, so I'm trying to keep up as much as I can, but there's gonna sometimes be where I miss things, but I'm gonna try my best not to move forward. But anyway, let's get to it. I really want to yell at the top of my lungs, but my boyfriend is sleeping and he has to get up in like a couple of hours for work, so I'm not gonna yell. But y'all are still gonna feel me on this. Before we get on to tonight's episode, I would like to touch very briefly on last week's episode. Let me see, what do I have here? What are we doing here last week? So what happened last week? So all right, so last week we dealt with the whole shaman whatever situation, right, that Deandra was doing. And after that, when they went and they sat down and, you know, they had the dinner and stuff like that, Brandy said, what did Brandy say? Brandy pretty much was like, oh, well, you know, I'm a Christian and I didn't really feel right doing that. This is my whole thing about it. Number one, I really need people. Just because you guys don't understand it, it doesn't mean that it's demonic. It doesn't mean that it's not of God. It doesn't mean that it has anything to do with God at all. From what I understood it to be, now I don't know. Like I said, I'm talking about from what I seen on TV. It was mostly about meditation, right? When I was in college, I took an entire class that was on meditation because I had to take a class that was on Lord, I don't want to say these people's name wrong, but like Indian people, like their culture and stuff like that. I pretty much had a whole class on that. And for my meditation class, it literally was an assignment every week to go to your room and try to meditate. Now, from my understanding of meditation, the whole point of meditation is to clear your mind. It's to clear your mind. So you're really not supposed to be thinking about anything. And it takes a long time. I've never actually even mastered it myself because I don't really know how to turn off the thoughts in my head. But what I'm more confused about than anything is, this is meditation, right? So it's all within you. It's all within your own head. I don't think anybody there, when the shaman was doing it, I don't think anybody said, Brandy, you can't think of God. Brandy, you can't meditate on God. Because like she said, like Brandy was talking about meditating on God. That's what my mom does. My mom does that every morning. She does it for like 3-4 hours. She do it for a real long time. But my whole thing is, while you were sitting there meditating, nobody told you, Brandy, you can't meditate with God. Nobody said, oh my gosh, Brandy, you're thinking about God. Stop it. You're thinking about Jesus. Stop thinking about him. Stop thinking about him. Nobody said that. So again, I feel like similar to Tiffany, you were projecting. I don't know what you were projecting, but you were projecting, and it was some bullshit as far as I was concerned. And in my opinion, which we'll get there, you did come for Deandra and her Christianity. You did. And again, just because you don't understand it, that does not mean that it's not of God. And if you wanted to sit there and meditate on God, you could have did that. If you were so uncomfortable during that whole thing, you could have literally stopped during whatever little transitioning to another activity. If you really felt that uncomfortable, you could have pulled Deandra to the side and said, you want to know what, Deandra? I don't really know what's going on here. You could have either asked, which you never asked, okay? Or you could have pulled Deandra to the side and you could have said, hey, Deandra, I appreciate you inviting me and everything like that, and I appreciate what you're trying to do, and, you know, bless you on your journey, but I'm just not feeling right about this whole situation. It's nothing against you. I just don't feel comfortable, you know, so can we meet up another time to talk, or can I come back later? But no, you sat your white ass there through the whole time and didn't want to get home and feel, oh my gosh, I don't know if I should have did it. It's full of shit. It's all full of shit as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, so we start the episode, okay? And Stephanie and Brandy are going to go see the lockers. Well, Stephanie asked Brandy if she could come with her to go see the lockers that she donated. Then we have Deandra, Carrie, and Tiffany, okay? And Tiffany talks about how she wants to throw another party, and she's going to throw it at one of the hotels, one of the 2 hotels that her husband and his family owns. I said, you got money. Okay. See, I was sitting here wondering this whole time. I don't really like to count people's pockets, but I was sitting here wondering this whole time. I'm like, yo, Dr. Tiffany probably has the nicest house out of all of y'all as far as I'm concerned. And I know that she's a doctor, and I know she works hard. And I know that he's a doctor, I think. I think he's a doctor, right? But I'm like, y'all must be getting money from somewhere else too. It makes sense. Own hotels, period, poo. Y'all could never, okay? So, you know, they're talking about the party, and Deandra pretty much says that she doesn't get how Brandy could be judgmental as far as shamans when you did a whole medium, spirit, ghost situation. And I said, thank you so much, Deandra. And I seen people on Twitter like, well, no, it's not the same thing. This is the whole point. The point that Deandra is trying to make is that there is a lot of Christian people who could say that you even dealing with a medium is inappropriate. I personally don't deal with that. Like, I'm talking about me personally. I don't deal with that at all. I don't deal with that at all because I don't want to delve into that or anything like that. Part of it has to do with my Christian faith, but part of it is that I don't really want to have to deal with that at all. I guarantee you, my mama is a Bible thumping Christian right now. Say anything to her about a medium if you want to. She gonna get to the praying. So I think what Deandra's point was, it's not that to her there's actually something wrong with doing that, but she did not judge you, and she didn't come for your faith and say, oh, you're not a Christian because you do that. But I do find it very hypocritical, Brandy, that like she said, you want to pick and choose what's Christian, what's not. This is the thing. If there's so many people, so many Christians who want to pick and choose, you want to pick and choose, fine, but don't come my way and try to impose your picking and choosing on me. That's where, I'm sorry, y'all. That's where the real issue lies, Brandy. That's where the real issue lies. The picking and choosing when you feel like it, when it's convenient for you. We want to talk about the Bible. Let's talk about the whole thing. Let's talk about that. Calm down, Jalissa. Calm down. So, then we talk about mother-daughter's relationships and, you know, how Mama D and Deandra, they always get into it and how they need to fix it. I'm going to be real with y'all. I feel like because Mama D is somebody's mother, that a lot of y'all not really real with it. It's not, first of all, Mama D is hilarious to me. She cracks me up. She keeps it real. But prior to this season, all of the other seasons I've seen Mama D be on and them dealing with this organization, I can see why let me say this. It's surprising that Deandra didn't come out worse. Like, didn't come out a terrible person. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but it really, if you have watched all of the seasons of The Real Housewives of Dallas and you've seen the way that Mama D interacts with Deandra, it's not a very kind one. It's not a very nurturing one. It's not a very understanding one, not at all. And I understand what they were trying with both what Carrie and Tiffany were trying to say about, oh, you know, that's your mom and you only get one mom and all of that. And I listen, I understand that wholeheartedly. But I do think, though, that we need to, people in general, it ain't even just a black or a white thing, it's everybody in general. We need to stop doing this just because you're my parent. You automatically get away with, you can pretty much get away with doing and saying everything, and I'm just supposed to forgive because I'm your child. It doesn't work like that. If you are my parent, your main thing should be to respect me. It should be to love me. It should be to nurture and to care for me and to not disrespect me. Mama D has disrespected Deandra I don't know how many times, and I don't care that that's her mother. As her mother, you should be the last person to disrespect her. And I really need us to get, as a society, out of the thinking that because somebody is your parent, that means that it's okay for them to talk to you however, deal with you however, even all the way up as being a grown-ass person. And Deandra has taken a lot of bullshit from her mom simply because of the inheritance. Like, let's just be real. If it wasn't for the money, Deandra wouldn't deal with her mom. That's real shit. She really wouldn't. Not to the degree that she deals with her with. And who would blame her? I wouldn't. So I get what y'all are saying, but at the same time, every mother-daughter's relationship isn't the same. And every mother-daughter's relationship isn't necessarily, I don't want to say needs to be salvaged, but you can't just keep expecting a child to constantly give reverence over and over and over and over and over and over again. Even as a grown-ass adult, you sitting here disrespecting me. It don't work like that. It just don't. It don't. So then we go and we see Stephanie goes to go donate some lockers. Now, here's the thing about the lockers. This is what I have in my notes. The lockers. They're nice, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know. Not, this is the thing, Stephanie. By way for me to tell somebody how to spend their money and what to give their money away from. But I just personally feel like that was a nice gesture. It was cute. It was nice. But I also feel as if like the money just could have been used differently or spent differently. And I also feel like it wasn't really a good, from an optics point of view, you came in on a private jet with your husband, your best friend, and your mama to come to a charity event where you was just showing somebody some lockers that you set up for them. This is not to take away any of the hard work that Stephanie put in, but I'ma just be real. When they was on their way there, they talked about how the reason why they picked them is because they had just recently went through 2 hurricanes that was really devastating, and how people had lost their homes once, then had to build their home again just for those same homes to be torn down. Again, not that it's not a good gesture and it wasn't sweet, but didn't she say before that I think it was like she was $300,000 over budget? I think I'm pretty sure she said she was $300,000 over budget. Now I don't have the complaint that everybody else do about why is the guys locker rooms nicer than the girls, because I don't know what sports each one's plays, but I would like to do, if you went 300,000 over budget, let's just take the 300,000. If you would have took $300,000 instead of putting it towards the lockers and gave that money to those students, let's just say $300,000. Let's just say for everybody who's on the athletic team, you was going to give them some money, for college, right? Let's just say you was going to give the seniors for college. Let's say there's approximately 30 kids, right? That's seniors. Or let's just say there's 30 kids, period, right? Let's just say that there's 30 kids. That's $10,000 that you could have gave to each student. I just feel as if a lot of times when people try to do charity, when people with a lot of money try to do charity, y'all, and especially when it's something that you can write off, I just feel like a lot of y'all need to go to basics. Give people cash. When people want charity and stuff like that, and you guys are doing charity, cash is the main thing that you really need to be giving people. Or if you wasn't going to give straight cash to these kids, you could have said, you want to know what? We will pay for all of these students. We'll pay for their books for the first year, or we'll give X amount of money for every student that's having problems, with the home that they're living in, or we will donate, X amount of money per student, or we'll get a scholarship for each student. But I just feel personally as if that $300,000 and then some, because you went $300,000, so that probably $500,000 that you used to revamp that damn school, when another hurricane could come right through and rip it out, that money could have been better used if you would have actually gave it to the students or to the community itself for them to do what they need to do with it. That is just my own personal little thing. And again, just from an optic point of view, you come on a chartered plane, a private jet, in the same state that you're living in, mind you, and I know Texas is big, but still, you're in the same state. You chartered a private jet to come to a charity event. When you on your way to that charity event is saying that people have lost houses. This is just a nice friendly tip to you, Stephanie. If you really want to make real change on the ground, cash is what's going to be needed. Paying for people's bills is, even if you don't want to give cash, paying for people's bills, paying for people's debt, that's what's really going to help people in the long run, not some lockers. No shade at all, no shade. But shout out to Stephanie. I guess they had a nice time. They did that. So then we go to Tiffany, and Tiffany, oh, I forgot. So Tiffany had to talk to her boss about whether or not she could take an extra day off. She talked to him and she could. She ends up going to talk to her mom about it, and she was like really scared, but her mom was like really supportive and stuff like that. And I felt when Tiffany said that confessional, I felt like I'm an investment and not a daughter. I said, woo! You better speak my life, Dr. Tiffany. I ain't going to even really get into why, but I felt that on a spiritual level when she said that. Woo, what a word. What a word, okay? So then we got Mama D and Deandra. They're sitting there. I mean, Deandra comes over to Mama D's house to pretty much apologize for how she talked to her, because she didn't have to talk to her that way. It was disrespectful. But Mama D said in her memory, she do remember Deandra saying that Deandra changed her name, her last name, to Simmons, because it would open more doors for her. And she said she might not remember that, but that's what she said. Do I think Deandra said that? Probably. But to me, I feel like this. Two things can be true at the same time. It could be true that she did change, that she said that and she did change her name for that reason. But it could also be that her stepfather was a bigger influence in her life than her daddy was. I'll put it like this. I don't know if Deandra, if her stepfather treated her as bad as maybe her dad did, maybe she wouldn't have been so willing and ready to like change her name to Simmons. Because my thing is, regardless, yes, changing your last name, period, will help open doors. For instance, Lori Harvey, as y'all all know, Lori Harvey is not Steve Harvey's real daughter at all. He didn't even get into Lori Harvey's life until, let me look this up. Let me look this up, because I want to be right. When did Steve Harvey marry Marjorie? Because y'all know Marjorie's a bad bitch. 2007. So that means that, let me see how old Lori Harvey is. Okay, so Lori Harvey, Lori Harvey was probably like maybe 10, still pretty much a kid, maybe like 10 or 11 when her mom married Steve Harvey. But the point of the matter is that wasn't her last name, and she changed her last name. It wasn't probably, and it was for what reason? Probably because it opened more doors. However, I will say this. Although changing your last name helps, I do still think that regardless of that, she still would have had doors open because of her being a white woman, and because she has wealth, and because you her mama, and you was married to that man. So I think regardless, Deandra still would have been able to step through, maybe not all of the doors, but a lot of them doors she would have been able to step through regardless, just because of her being your daughter, period. So anyway, she apologized for that, and, and they just had that whole conversation how they want to do better as far as having a better relationship. So then we go to Carrie, and Carrie's talking to her two kids, and she apologizes to them for the way she acted when they were kids, like when she was going through her divorce. And I do appreciate that. I think parents need to get in more of the habit of apologizing to their kids for when they're wrong, even if it is 20, 30 years later. You don't know how much that will impact or affect your kids. Apologize. If you're wrong, you're wrong. I don't have children, but when I do, I'm going to make it my damnness that if I'm wrong, I'm going to tell them that I'm wrong. It's just that simple. You can't go around, as a parent, and this is just me talking as a child, like, as somebody's child. It's hurtful and it's damaging to be a parent and to walk around and make it seem like you've never done anything wrong, and that you as a child should just be grateful for the fact that you're alive, and grateful for the fact that they took you here and they took care of you and stuff. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. You as a parent do not get a hand clap for doing what you were supposed to do, which is taking care of me. You laid down on your back and you had sex unprotected and you had me. It is now your legal responsibility to take care of me, point blank, period. So you don't get an extra hand clap for doing what it is that you were supposed to do for me. If you didn't want to do it, you could have gave me up for adoption, but you didn't. So guess what? You're legally obligated now to take care of me. And I don't like parents who feel like they need a hand clap for doing what they were supposed to do. Now, a whole bunch of extra stuff that you didn't have to do, I understand. But at the end of the day, you're still a parent. So you want the best for your child. And you should never rub what you did for your child in your child's face. That should never, ever be a thing. Like, unless that child is like super, super grown, but you shouldn't be throwing in your face, oh, well, I took you to Disneyland when you were 7 and you ain't never been grateful for that. That type of shit, you can miss me with that bullshit. So, let's see. So then we get over and everybody's going to Tiffany's party. Okay, everybody's going to Tiffany's party. I have here in my notes, I am very agitated that everybody kept saying that her party was a disaster when it really wasn't. It was actually a really good party. I would have went to her pizza party. Y'all only say that it was bad because of her telling you to wear booties when it's her fucking house in the whole cricket situation, which if she would have never brought it up, none of y'all would have had anything to say. So again, y'all just be looking for some shit to say. Then we have Brandy, Carrie, and Stephanie all in a car, and Stephanie is like, hey, did you talk to Carrie or anything like that, since the whole y'all whole fallout? And she's like, no, I didn't. And then she goes on this whole long thing about, I just feel as a Christian, I just feel like as a Christian. And I'm gonna get there. Nope, I'm gonna get there towards the end. I'm gonna get that towards the end. So then we get to the party or whatever. Oh, I forgot I have to drag Cam. Yay, this is fine. Okay, so we get to the party, right? Everybody's cool and stuff like that. And again, like I said, I was annoyed, but everybody kept saying how terrible her last party was when it wasn't fucking terrible. Y'all made it terrible because y'all wanted just to make her feel bad, in my opinion. And y'all just wanted something to say to her. And y'all just wanted a reason to pick with her. That's just my opinion on it. But Cam ends up saying something like, oh, Tiffany has the party, right? And stuff like that. Clearly, people are trainable. Who is this blonde white woman talking to? Who is this blonde white woman talking to? Bitch, you can't even train your dog. You have to pay somebody to help you train your dog. But you want to talk about somebody being trainable? That's extremely offensive. It's unnecessary. And if I was Tiffany and I seen you at the reunion, I would smack the shit out of you, because who the fuck are you talking to? You are a privileged white woman in America. You need to watch the shit that comes the fuck. This is her and Brandy's problem. Y'all need to watch the shit that comes out of your mouth. Period. An Asian woman is trainable? Is that what we're saying here? Cam? You can't even train your fucking dog without paying a fucking gym worker to help you. Let's continue to drag Cam, as I fucking should. So then they're sitting there talking. I forgot who the fuck Cam's talking to. But she says, I think it was to Deandra. She was like, oh yeah, I've never seen a bill a day in my life. I've never seen a gas bill, a light bill. I've never seen a bill a day in my life, not even a credit card bill. I'll just get a call from him and he's like, oh, what's all of this on? And I'm like, oh, it's spent on the kids. And then I just go, what you want to know? That's your lifestyle as a rich, white, privileged white woman, right? That's fine. But what I don't understand is, how is it that you don't know nothing about money? You know nothing about the management of money or the bills, but you want to know the inner and outer workings of him buying this house? She's like, oh, I don't want to know about the utilities or anything like that. I just want to know. So my thing is, where your husband has you right now is perfect, because any other time you don't want to know about how shit's getting done. You just want to spend it. So now that we're getting a house, don't now try to jump in and be like, oh, I want to be more involved, because you don't care any other time. And what is it that your husband is going to tell you about the inner workings of getting this house that you're going to understand when you haven't even looked at a light bill? How is he going to explain to you depreciation and appreciation and this and that and how much something's going to be per square footage? How is he going to explain all of that to you in a way that makes sense, Cam? You might as well shut the fuck up, sit there, be the privileged white woman that you are, and let your husband do what it is that he's going to do. Period. And also, guess what, like somebody said, you're the real dumbass, Carrie, because when your husband leaves you, he will leave. He's going to, I keep telling y'all this every freaking episode I can get on here. Cameron's husband is going to leave her. Best to believe me when I say it. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but that man is going to get fed the fuck up with Cam and her ways, and he's going to leave her. So when your husband does leave you, and you could get half everything, but guess what? You could have $2 million, but if you don't know how to fucking budget it, then what? You can have all the money in the world, but if you don't know how to budget it, and I don't understand why, as a grown fucking woman with 2 kids, you wouldn't want to know how to budget something. You wouldn't want to know. God forbid something happens to your husband. You are fucked, Carrie. Cam, you're fucked. You are fucked. And I don't understand how you're friends with somebody like Carrie, who has been through something similar with being with a man who has so much control over the money, and then them getting a divorce and her being fucked. I could continue to drag, but I don't have the fucking time. So then they see the hula dancing and the fire spinning. Let's just get to the shit. So the last 5 minutes, like the last 5 minutes I am on this video, You got Deandra brings up pretty much what Brandy said at the little dinner or whatever the case may be, and Brandy's like, oh, I wasn't judging you. Brandy, you absolutely were judging her. And thank you again, Deandra, for bringing up the whole thing with the medium. Like, I don't understand. Like she said, when you did that, I didn't question your Christian faith at all. I just let you rock. So why is it that you had to say that about me? It was not necessary. It was uncalled for. It was uncouth, period. It just was. And she brought out, and shout out to Deandra for bringing out the little pendulum thing, because she was like, you want to talk about stuff that's unchristian, like that's demonic. What she pulled out, that can absolutely be seen as something demonic. All that man was telling y'all to do was to sit there and meditate. And even after, when they heard the little sounds and she said, oh my gosh, it felt like I was in hell, I felt like it wasn't of God, he even said out his own mouth, he said, oh well, that wasn't my purpose. The purpose of it wasn't for that at all. I don't understand, Brandy, how you, and what else did Deandra say? Deandra said, you're a cafeteria Christian. I said, come on through, Deandra. Come on through with the facts. Come on through. Pretty much meaning you're picking and choosing what you want. This is my whole thing, like I put up on Twitter. Brandy, I could really go on a whole tangent. I'm really not going to go on it. But like I said on Twitter, you consume a shitload of alcohol way past the fucking limit that you're supposed to, which is gluttony in a way. Shouldn't be doing that, but you do it. Do anybody judge you? No. You shake your ass on tables and be having your punana all the way out to the world when you really only should be doing that for your husband. Does anybody judge you for that? No. You go around and you see mediums and you deal with spirits and Ouija boards and all of this shit. Does anybody judge you for that? No. But those are all things that people can say that are not Christian-like. But does anybody come for you? No. They let you fucking rock. They let you rock. The same way that I found out allegedly your husband fucking cheated on you. Was he of God when he took his dick out and put it in somebody else? I just want to know. Wandering Minds wants to know. I thought adultery wasn't Christian-like. That's what I thought. But does it make you feel any type of way to still lay in that bed with that man? No. Nobody's around here judging you. And like she said, it's amazing, Brandy, that you went through all of this shit and you didn't get none of the backlash, in my opinion, that you really should have, especially from the people on the cast, and especially the fact that you're still on Bravo after this bullshit. You didn't get enough fucking negative backlash as you should have, in my opinion. But people let you rock anyway. Brandy needs to get the fuck off my TV like tomorrow. I don't want her on here next season. She's not needed. She's not necessary. Dr. Tiffany does enough as far as I'm concerned, and she's good enough for me. She can rock. Brandy needs to be off of our TV because you're not going to be on here Bible thumping when it's convenient for you. Nobody is judging you when you have your whole entire vagina spread it to the whole fucking world. You literally called Deandra out about whatever it is that she did with the shaman. But at that same party that they had that Carrie had, you literally at the end of the episode fell off the damn swing and was pretty much passed out on the fucking middle of the damn ground. Is that Christian-like? Would your pastor approve of that behavior? Pretty sure they wouldn't. So how about you do what you feel is best for you as a Christian, and let Deandra do what she feels best for her. Fuck out of here.